Hello, friends. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Um, I just had a session before this that was fabulous, wonderful in all the ways, and I thought that I was going to pull some runes to kind of get an idea of what was going on today, like what was the general energy, and then I thought, no, this is too good. So I pulled three runes, which I feel like I did last time. And what was so funny is the first one, and like, first of all, none of them were what we got before. And then the first one, I hadn't like looked up in this book before, and I literally flipped the book open to that one to like look for it, and I thought that was really cool. Um, so the first one is Wunyo, and this is about pleasure and joy and celebration and feasting and comfort. It is the thing that stuck out to me is that we're going to talk about our mindset, which I feel like, is kind of a recurring theme, but this feels a little bit more relevant, especially tied to when I did the healing that I did earlier today, or right before this. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our mindset and where we are. The second rune is Sowilo, and that is the symbol of the sun's healing power, luck, abundance, health, and fortune. It is a moment to rejoice and celebrate the accomplishments of your goals and dreams. So this feels very appropriate for the summer solstice that's coming up, and I know this is the full moon, but this just feels just super relevant to the summer solstice and the abundance of the sun and the summer and all of that. So the last is actually an inverse, which you can read in runes, the inverse of Manaz, which the inverse is about isolation, manipulation, self-delusion. And my interpretation of this and what it goes on to say in the book is about separating yourself from society, separating yourself from the rest of the world, and kind of creating this feeling of being an outcast, which can lead, of course, to sadness and low self-esteem. And it can also mean losing touch with your intuition and your higher self. Okay? So the reason why I feel so good about this is because I, are in control here. And I think so many of the healings and so much of the time that we've had coming up to this point has felt exhaustingly hopeless or out of my control or just crappy. And this feels good. This feels good. Now, caveat is I'm going to a funeral later for a friend of mine. And it's sad to think of the circumstances that led to her being not with us anymore. And so I feel a little bit of this interesting dichotomy between feeling super joyful right now and feeling super sad and it being very heavy right now. And I know those two things can coexist. Yeah. So we're going to talk about it. The first thing is about shifting your mindset. This, going back to the first rune, Wunyo, it's about joy, but it's about shifting your mindset from negative to positive to repel negativity and attract happiness. If you are perpetually negative, you will attract unhappiness and sorrow. When you are upbeat and grateful, you will attract happiness and joy. It is also an excellent omen for all types of relationships, especially romantic ones. Now, don't come at me if you're not all about law of attraction, all right? This is what I take from it when it comes to vibrational frequencies and attracting or manifesting what it is that you want in the world. You have what I'm going to call an average vibrational frequency throughout your day. that vibrational frequency could be correlated to an average emotion. And you may think that the emotion that you're that you're vibrating at on the average is bad. If it is something like sadness or jealousy or rage or anger or anything that society would label negative, right? You have the ability to shift your emotional frequency, and if you do so in a more continuous fashion so that the average vibration that you carry is elevated slightly, then you will also feel better across your entire life. Now, what does that look like? What does that mean? Let's just say that you have been incredibly angry, just all the time. You're just angry. You may feel like, and society may tell you, that anger is a bad emotion, but I disagree. If you are angry and I say to you, oh, just shift to your positive vibes, high vibes, you're going to be like, bitch, shut up. But that's not how that's really going to play out, because you can't leap from anger to joy. It's just too far. It is an unreasonable expectation. What you can do is shift the vibration slightly from anger to perhaps frustration. Maybe that feels like a leap that you can take. You're going to shift from anger to frustration. Is frustration still a positive emotion? Not necessarily. But is it a positive emotion in relation to anger? Yes. So if you go from spending most of your days angry to most of your days frustration, you raise your vibration. Now, on the other side of things, looking at anger, if you had spent a significant period of time in feelings of hopelessness and despair, would anger be considered a positive emotion? Yes, because anger is feeling something. So if you are in anger, but you were depressed, and I'm talking about the average daily vibration, I understand that you can shift from one to the other within moments of the same day, but I'm just talking about the average frequency of your day. If you were going through a period of depression or grief, and now you are angry, you have raised your vibration. You are already in a higher vibration than you were. So be compassionate and kind to yourself. So when we're talking about shifting our mindset from negative to positive, don't think of it as two ends of a spectrum. Think of it as the scale, or the gradual process of going up the scale. I really love the graphic that you can Google it about Jerry and Esther Hicks, or Abraham Hicks, in the Law of Attraction's emotional scale. It really shows how you can raise your frequency when it's attainable, going from anger to frustration. Then maybe you go from frustration to annoyance. And then maybe from annoyance, you hit boredom. And then from boredom, you're content. And now we're going to go up into more of an upward spiral of emotions rather than a downward spiral of emotions, okay? So that's what we want to work on, is try to, and if it's helpful for you to visualize that graphic, go ahead and pause this and go and look at that graphic. Just Google emotional scale, law of attraction, and it's generally like a rainbow of, like a vertical column of emotional words, and it's usually in a rainbow, so you can visually find it, spot it. And look at where you are right now. And you may already know. If you already know, find the emotion on that scale where you are right now. And I want you to just look at the level right above it. And that is your focus for today. So if your focus for today, like if you are like just frustrated with your life, look at the one above frustrated and see if that feels like a step you can take in the upward direction. All right, because that would be considered a higher vibrational frequency than what you're carrying right now. We're focusing on that. That's step one. Sowilo is the second rune, and this is seriously another positive omen. Sowilo is the sun rune, And again, we're going into the summer solstice. We're having the longest days of the year. This is my favorite time of year. I know some people are really into fall, and I love that for you. Summer is where it is for me. I'm also a summer baby. So, Suilo is thought to represent feminine energy associated with daylight hours when there is no darkness to obscure our eyesight. So if you choose this rune, which we did, it means the sun's healing energy surrounds you and the prosperity and good fortune is on its way. You must use this energy, however, and power at your disposal properly to help you achieve your aspirations and goals. So, I'm going to go on to read this. It is necessary to remind ourselves to not get haughty or arrogant with our good fortune, but rather to be grateful for all that we have received. The words to remember are vitality, success, justice, and inspiration. There's actually no reverse meaning of this rune. There's no inverse. So it is just all good. It is all good. So focus on where we're going to move up, and we're just going to be grateful. We're going to focus on the things that we can be grateful for right now. I can be grateful for the longer days. I can be grateful for the sunshine. I can be grateful for the warmth because I am not one that likes to be cold. I like to be warm. I can be grateful that I got to experience the life of my friend while she was here, that I got to have a relationship with her no matter how brief it was, or that it was only for a season in my life and now that season's over. I can be grateful for the time that I get to share with you, that I have the ability to do this with you. I can be grateful for my eyesight. You pick something. If you can't pick anything, try. Be grateful for your cat or your dog or your kids or, I don't know, the blanket that you have on yourself right now, something that feels soft. Think about what makes you feel good and be grateful for that, for this moment. It's going to help you transition into a higher frequency because, and this is another thing that I said earlier to my client, was if you're having a hard time feeling good, again, let's just say you're angry, look for the thing around you right now that inspires a bit of happiness. So if this crystal makes you happy and you're like, oh, I love this crystal, this makes me happy, and there's a part of your inner child that comes out, be with that for a moment and feel that uptick in your vibration. If it feels good to you to go outside and put your feet on the ground, or to take a warm bath, or to take a hot shower, or to eat a brownie, focus on how it makes you feel, that it feels good, and just savor it and be grateful for that moment. And I'm just going to take the last one that is inverse about isolation to mean, because what resonates with me is how you have lost touch with your intuition and higher self. I sent out an email, you may or may not have seen it, just about how my experience giving birth to Landon had really left me feeling like I could not connect to my intuition anymore, and that I felt so betrayed by my guides and my spirit team that I just did not want to have anything to do with them anymore. And what I learned, and if you read this email, this is going to be a repeat. What I learned is that they knew when they showed me the visions that didn't come to fruition, they knew that the possible outcome would be my anchor at them. And what it ended up transpiring is that I put, and I only see two of them, my guides, two guides, on probation. I didn't want them to be involved with my spirituality for a time. And I'm talking 6-8 months. You see, Landon 10 months old. So 10 months, damn near a year. I want to talk to my higher self and my ancestors. I ain't talking to my spirit guides, period. And recently, as in 2 weeks ago, I was on the kitchen floor, I was nursing my baby, and I had a moment to meditate, so I did. And I talked about this, and I was like, listen, if you guys, if we can come to an agreement, so on and so forth. I'm not going to, I'll spare you the whole conversation because this is getting already kind of long. I ended up firing one guide and keeping another. And whenever this one went away, another one stepped forward. So it was almost like a shift change in guards. One guide stepped out, another guide stepped in. So I have what I would consider to be a new guide, someone that I'm not as familiar working with because I haven't been working with them but for a couple of weeks. And when I got the information about why this was all necessary, they gave me the image of a house that was an older house that we had moved in, and over time we had upgraded appliances, we had added new devices, and we had reached the capacity of the electrical system in that house. And you couldn't do anything else besides replace all of the wiring in that house because the load was too much. The energy could come into the house and then it would get stifled before it got to whatever the device was that needed the energy. So that connection, those wires, had to be completely removed and replaced with new ones that could then handle the increased capacity and flow. And they said that's what happened. The way I connected to my guides before, what I was doing before, was not gonna be sustainable, and I had to figure out a new way to do it. And so that's what I'm still in the process. It's still a work in process. That's still what I'm doing, is reconnecting to my guides in a new and different way so that the energy that comes through is more powerful, it comes through faster, it comes through clearer, and that I am even more in tune than before. All right, so that's just a little bit about all that. I'm trying to remember like why I started talking about it, but anyway, I needed to share that story with you. So take a breath. I know I'm talking a lot. Get to the healing, Amy. Today, the intention is to help you shift just one notch up on that vibrational scale, that emotional scale, to be grateful for something in your vicinity right now. And to reconnect, there it is, to help you reconnect with your guides using a different path. If this was a brain, you're going to create a new neural pathway because the old neural pathways were disrupted in the thing that happened to you. And for me, it was Landon's birth. The neural pathways are not going to be accessible anymore, so you have to create new ones. So you're going to still be able to connect to your higher self, to your intuition, to your guides, your ancestors, whoever it is that you want to connect to. You are still connecting with them. It's just going to be like forging a new path, creating a new connection, having a new pathway to get to them, and to be able to receive more clearly and more confidently, and it will come through more vividly than it did last year this time. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Get yourself comfortable. If you need to get yourself some water, get yourself an oil. I have all my crystals today because I was doing my crystal healing. Get comfortable. And I'm just going to start. We're going to close your eyes and you're going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. Engulfing your toes, bring movement to your body. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. I am so grateful that you're here, that you watched this recording, and I hope that you have a fantastic full moon day and summer solstice. If I don't see you before then, happy summer solstice, and I love you. I'll see you next month.